Friends, today we are going to learn the peripherals of laptop motherboards and how to repair those peripherals. So the first peripheral is a fan cooling system. The cooling system take place by this component, like this one. Suppose this is a CPU and this one is a PCH and this one is a SIO and here is a fan. In laptop the fan basically works on 5 volt, in desktop it works on 12 volt. So first there are two cooling systems where the CPU detect temperature from the two side. One is a NTC. NTC is basically is a thermistor, and he detect some temperatures, and this NTC is basically kept below the CPU. It's very close to the CPU sockets, so he detect the temperature of the processor, and that information he sent to the VRM section. Suppose when the CPU gets very hot, at that time he receive that temperature and send to the VRM. At that time the VRM section disconnect the core voltage and turn off the laptop. It's like that, and the VRM section generate the next signal is called the pro hot. That means the processor is very hot. He generate this signal, and then this signal is given again to the CPU, and then CPU detect the next signal is called the thermal trip. When he receive the send out the thermal trip, and this signal is sent to the PCH. At that time the PCH trip this two signal, that is SLP S3 and SLP S4. This slip mode signal he did just terminate both the signal and turn off the laptop. It's like that. So this is the first process of the cooling system. So from NTC receive the temperature, inform to the VRM circuit, VRM trip the circuit. If the temperature is normal, then VRM work. If the temperature is not normal, then the VRM trip. It's like that. Okay, there is another temperature sensor also, that is the inside the processor, and that the CPU pin is called the PECI. The PECI means the platform environment control interface. This is a one wire interface. He informed this CPU temperature to the SIO. Is a one wire communication protocol between the processor and the SIO. So inform the SIO, so he informed the CPU temperature to the SIO, and then SIO accordingly SIO drive this fan. So this fan basically have a 3 pins. One black is a ground, and another is a red for the 5 volt, and the third pin is called the yellow pin, that is basically a feedback pin. And SIO side there are 2 pins. One pin is called the fan drive signal. The fan drive signal is a drive to this MOSFET. It trigger this MOSFET gate. Here is one MOSFET. Drain is an N channel MOSFET, and the drain is connected to the 5 volt, and the source part is connected to the fan. When the CPUs get hot, at that time SIO drive this fan drive signal to this MOSFET gate, and then this 5 volt get trigger, and this 5 volt comes to the source, and fan started rotating and it's cool down the CPU. Then there is another pin I already told, that is a yellow pin, that yellow wire. That yellow wire is called the fan sync signal. The fan sync signal is an input to the SIO. Basically at the what the speed is fan is rotating, he receive that information, and this information sent to the SIO. It's like that. He send the RPM, rotation of the fan. So in this way this cooling take place. Now if you have a problem, like if you have a laptop which is, if not the fan is not rotating, then what you have to do is you have to check the 5 volt at the red pin, and if 5 volt is not coming, then you have to check this MOSFET. Maybe this MOSFET gets open, or it's not getting a triggering to its gate, this triggering coming from the SIO. So you have to check that. You can directly give the 5 volt also. You can short, either you can short this MOSFET by drain and source, or you can connect this red wire to the USB 5 volt there, then also fan work directly. So in this way you can solve the fan problem. We'll see the next peripheral. The next is RTC section, the real-time clock. If your RTC is not working or day date it's not saving, then what you have to do is first you have to check this battery, CMOS battery. If the CMOS battery is not proper, then you have to replace the CMOS battery. After replacing the CMOS battery, the problem is same, then you have to check this RTC power. RTC power supposed to come 3 volt. This voltage you can check without the power, like you no need to connect the adapter or battery, that is the main battery. You have to connect only the CMOS battery. At that time here supposed to 3 volts should come. That is criteria number 1. The criteria number 2 is he should get this RTC reset signal also. This RTC reset signal generated by this RC circuit, resistor and capacitor delay circuit. Here you should get a 3 volt, and the next signal you have to check, that is this crystal 32.7 kilohertz crystal. This 32.7 kilohertz crystal generate a clock frequency. So whenever you have a problem like a CMOS is not saving, so at that time you have to focus only these 3 things: RTC power number 1, RTC reset number 2, and crystal. So in this way you can solve all this RTC problem. Then the PCH, normally PCH connected to 2 crystal, one is a 32.7 kilohertz and another is a 25 megahertz. This 25 megahertz crystal is basically used to generate different clocks. In previous model, like in the Core 2 models, there is a separate clock chips, and that clock chips generate a different frequency. But after the Core i3 first generation, there is come a PCH, and this PCH incorporate this clock chips, this clock chips inside the PCH. So you generate different frequencies. Like see, you can see here, this different frequencies coming out from the PCH, and for that he need a 25 megahertz crystal connected to the PCH, like that. If the clock is not coming, then you have to first concentrate on this 25 megahertz crystal, like that. So next we'll check the Wi-Fi sections. If you have a laptop and if the Wi-Fi is not working, there is a problem in the Wi-Fi section. At that time, first you have to check the drivers. If your driver is proper, and you have replaced the Wi-Fi card also, still Wi-Fi is not enabling, at that time you have to check this Wi-Fi connector. See, is shown on this pictures. So here is a connection, like pin number 1 is this, pin number 2 is this, 3. It's like odd and even. This side is a odd side and this side is a even side. When you have a problem where the Wi-Fi is not enabling, at that time you have to check this pin number 22. Pin number 20. The pin number 20 is a Wi-Fi enable. This signal coming from the SIO. Here you should get a 3 volt at this pin. And if you are not getting this 3 volt at this pin, then the possibility is your Wi-Fi switch may be faulty, or this signal is not coming from the SIO. So maybe your problem in the SIO. So like that. So in that case you can do like this also. You can short this pin to the pin number 2 also. At here pin number 2, here we are getting 3 volt. So you can make a wire from here to here. You can jumper from pin number 2 to pin number 20. So this pin number 20 will get a 3 volt, and then Wi-Fi will start functioning, like that. So this socket is an older socket. Nowadays coming a newer socket, that is a very small socket like this. And in this type of connectors, the small connectors, when the Wi-Fi is not working, at that time you have to check this pin number 48, like this pin. You have to check this pin number 48, like this pin number 1, then 2, 3, 4. It's like that. This side is the odd side and this side is the even side. So You have to concentrate on pin number 48. Here you should get a 3 volt. If the 3 volt is not coming here, then you can make a jumper from pin number 2 to pin number 48, like that. Then this Wi-Fi enabling problem will solve. Next we'll see the lead sensor. In every laptop there is a magnetic lead sensor is there. Like suppose this is a laptop and my magnet is here. When you open this bezel, at that time you will find one magnet over there, and when we turn off this flap, at that time exactly below that magnet there is a sensor. At this sensor is basically like this. It's a 3-leg sensor, and at this one leg you will get a 3 volt like this. You like this. At pin number this you will get a 3 volt, and then 0 volt is like that, like this. Now if you have this magnet over there, when you take this magnet to near the sensor, it will generate voltage. When you keep away magnet, then it should be toggle like 303. It should be toggle from this pin. If it is toggling like this 303, that means this sensor is working. If it is not toggling 303, there is a problem in the sensor. At that time you have to replace or remove this sensor. What will happen if this sensor is bad? There may be many cases, like in Compal laptop, your laptop won't get on at all. If the sensor is short, then your laptop will not turn on at all. So at that time also you have to focus this sensor. In some laptop, if the sensor is short, then your internal display will be not there and external display will be there. At that time also you have to concentrate on this sensor. In some laptop there will be dim display, like display will be there but backlight will be not on, so dim display. At that time also you have to concentrate on this sensor. So this is a lead sensor, so you have to focus the lead sensor. You have to find out the lead sensor whenever such types of problems. Suppose if you have a laptop dead, then if you check all the 3 volt signal at SIO, RSMR, like a power button you have checked, you flash the BIOS, but still laptop is not powering on. At that time you have to check a 3 volt at lead sensor. If the 3 volt is not coming over there, then your laptop won't turn on. So you have to focus like that. So 3 problem will be occur if this lead sensor is faulty. Okay. So next peripheral we are going to check, that is the audio sections. The audio sections, when if you have a laptop and it's not giving the audio, then what you have to do is, first you have to check the drivers. First the driver should be perfect. If your drivers are perfect, then the next things that you have to check is, you have to check with the headphone. You have to connect headphone at this jack and you have to check whether audio is coming out or not. If the audio is coming from this jack but not coming from the speaker, then you have to open the laptop. First you have to check this jack. Sometime what is happened, this jack get faulty, the physically connections are not proper, it's not sensing the headphone. At that time also your speaker will not give the sound. So you have to check first. If your jack is okay, then next things you have to check, that is the speaker. You have to take multimeter, put it multimeter in the ohms, and they will get a 4 ohms on each speaker, like that. So you have to check the speakers. If your speaker is also working and headphone is also working but still sound is not coming out, then you have to locate this audio chip on the motherboard. So audio chips is normally make of Realtek, Yamaha, Context or Via. So you have to locate the audio chip on the motherboard and just open a schematic diagram and check this 2 voltage, that is DVDD is a 3.3 volt and AVDD, that is a 5 volt. So you have to check this both the voltages on the pin on this chip. If the voltage is not coming, then you have to see why voltages are not coming on this chip. If their voltages are there on the chips, then you have to replace the chips, then problem will be solved. So in this way you can solve the audio related issues. So next thing we are going to learn, that is a USB. If your USB is not working, so this one is my USB connector, and if this USB is not detecting, then first you have to check the physical connection, whether that connector is perfect or not. That is first we have to check. If the physically that this connector is okay, if this physically connector is a perfect, then you have to check the 5 volt. You have to check the 5 volt. This pin is a ground, this pin is a 5 volt, so you have to check the 5 volt. If this 5 volt is not coming, then you have to focus this MOSFET. In between 5 volt suspend and USB connector, there will be one MOSFET over there, so you have to check that MOSFET. That MOSFET may be open or something like that, so you have to check that. So you should get a 5 volt over here, and the next you have to check this data line. There is a 5 connectors. This 2 lines is called the data line. Both are the bidirectional and is connected to the PCH. You have to check this coil, and if still the problem will not solve, then you have to heat the PCH or the CPU if it is a 4th generation onward laptop. So you have to heat this PCH. If the still problem will not solve, then the possibility the PCH may be bad. So like that. So you have to check the USB section like this. In USB 3 also the same thing. The next things we are going to learn, that is SATA port. Like a SATA port. If you have a laptop which is not detecting the hard disk, okay, it's not detecting the hard disk, then first you can replace the hard disk and recheck, but problem is still there. Then the first thing you have to check, that is a physical connection. This connector you have to check physically, this is functioning or not. That is number 1. Number 2, you have to check the 5 volt over here. This actually there are 2 connectors. One is a small connector 7 pin, that is a data connector, and this big connector, that is for the power connector. This is a 24 pin connector, it's called the power connector. So at pin number 14, 15 and 16, like this, you have to leave this 6 pin, and then you have to check this 3 pin, that is a 14, 15, 16. There you should get a 3 volt. Okay, you should get a 3 volt over there. If this 3 volt is not getting, then you have to check why this 3 volt is not getting. There may be MOSFET is open between suspend volt and hard disk connector, so you have to check that. Now if the 5 volt is coming but still hard disk is not detecting, then you have to replace all these 4 capacitors in between the PCH and the connector. You will find there are small capacitors from pin number 2, pin number 3, pin number 5 and pin number 6. There are 4 capacitors over there, and you have to replace these 4 capacitor between the PCH and the connector. Then your problem will be solved. But if still problem is not solved after replacing the capacitor also, then the last possibility is PCH. You have to replace the PCH like that. So in this way you can solve hard disk related issues if you're not getting, if your hard disk is not detecting. So in this way you can solve the hard disk related issues. So here the flow chart also. First hard disk is not detecting, replace the hard disk and recheck, problem is solved, then finish it out. If the problem is not solved, then go down, check the physical connectors, loose or broken connector, something like that, so replace it if the connector is broken or bad. If not, if the connector is perfect, then you check the 5 volt, that is the power. You have to check the power over here. If the power is not perfect, then check why this power is not proper, check that. If the power is connected, then go down and check all the 4 coupling capacitor. These are the coupling capacitor between the PCH and the connector, so you have to replace all the 4 capacitor and recheck. If the problem is solved, finish. If the problem is still there, then possibility is PCH, like that. So this is a hard disk related issues. So next we are going to check is a network. If your network is not proper. If network is not functioning, then first you have to check this RJ45 jack, whether my cable is fitting or not. That is, physically you have to see all the pins are proper or not. That is first criteria. Then you can give the ping command from the software. That is the second. Okay, now still both are not working. If the connector is proper but the ping commands are not going, then you have to open the motherboard. Of course, before that you have to check the drivers also. The driver should be proper. Now if the driver is proper but still network is not working, then open the laptop, locate the chip. This chips is normally made by Realtek, Broadcom or Athros, either of this. So you have to locate the chips, this network chips you have to locate. It's a very easy to locate the network chips. On the network chip there will be one crystal. That crystal frequency is 25 MHz. So it's very easy to find on the motherboard. You will find a crystal over there, that is 25 MHz. So once you find these chips, then you have to check the VCC voltage. That is supposed to be 3.3 or 2.5, something like that. So you have to check all the voltages. Then you have to check this crystal. It should oscillate. You have to use the oscilloscope and check this frequency, that is a 25 MHz. If this frequency is not coming, then you replace the crystal and recheck. Now the frequency is there or not. Now the frequency is there, but still this network is not working. Then at last you have to replace this network chip. Same to same number you have to change that. Then the problem will solve like that. So in this way we can solve the network related issues. The last we are going to check external display. That is this is a 15 pin D shell connector. If the external display is not there, then what you have to do is you have to replace this connector. It's very easy. You have to replace this 15 pin D shell connector. And the last is HDMI. HDMI also same. If the HDMI is not working, then HDMI is directly connected to the PCH and the connectors. So if the HDMI is not working, then you have to replace the HDMI connector. So friends, so in this way we understand how to repair all the peripheral related issues on the laptop. So thank you very much.